Hi, I'm Gazz and welcome to the Belfast Music Academy online video lesson. In this lesson I'm just going to be explaining how to play the Snow Patrol hit Chasing Cars, and this lesson is basically designed for beginners who are just starting out with the chords and a few of the individual string plucking lessons as well. So to start the song off, I'm going to show you the official way of playing it, and then I'm actually going to show you an easier way of playing it, which is just kind of perfect for beginners. Now the official way of playing it is if you can get your first finger on the 7th fret of your D string and your third finger on the 9th fret of your G string, and just kind of alternate between those two with your right hand, so you're just going. And then for the next part, you keep your third finger exactly where it is and just move your first finger down 1 fret to the 6th fret. Now that's quite a bit of a stretch, so if you're just starting out, don't worry, I will show you an easier way to play this in a second. Literally, your third finger stays exactly where it is again, and your first finger comes off. So this time you've got an open D string, and you just keep going between your D string and the 9th fret of your G string. And then you're just back to the start again with that first finger coming back down on the 7th fret. Okay, now like I said, that's quite a stretch for a beginner, so if you find that a little bit tricky, just bear with me a second and I'll show you the easier way to do it. So what we're going to do is we're going to play the exact same notes, but we're going to do them in the open position of the neck. So that's down here. Now this time, if you can get your middle finger onto the 2nd fret of your G string, and what we're going to be doing is we're going to be picking this string, and we're going to be going to the top E string with our right hand. So we're going to go. Try and keep an up and down motion going, so you start off with a down stroke on your G string and an up stroke back again on your E string, so you're going up and down. So that way, instead of jumping back and forth with your right hand just kind of doing all down strokes, you're kind of just doing a nice little fluid motion with your right hand. Now again, that's your first part, and for your second part, this note here just has to move down to your 1st fret. So you can do this in one of two ways. You can have your middle finger ready and just move that down to your 1st fret like this, or you can actually get your first finger ready just behind it, so that all you have to do is take your middle finger off and keep picking between that string and your top E string, but make sure with this E string here that there's nothing getting in the way, so your fingers should come round but they're not touching the string, or else you get this kind of sound. So you don't want that. You want to make sure that your fingers come round and they're nice and clear, so this top E string is free, so it comes out nice and clear. So you've got two parts so far, which is your 2nd fret, your G string, and then down to your 1st fret. Just keeping this motion going all the time. And for your third part, instead of picking your G string here, you just move down to your D string and below, and keep going between that string and your top E string. Back to the start again. And that's the whole way through the verse. So if you've learned that much so far, that's going to be at least 50% of the song, if not more. So all we've got left to do is the chorus. Now the chorus uses 3 chords, our A, our E, and our D. And I'm just going to talk you through those now. To start off with, we're going to start with an A. Now how that works is if you kind of have to squash your first 3 fingers into the 2nd fret. Your first finger will sit in your D string, your 2nd finger on your G string, and your 3rd finger on your B string. So they're kind of all squashed in there in this little box here. Now with the right hand, we're not going to play the bottom E string. We're just going to play the 5 strings from the A down. So it sounds like that. Now the trick is, once you've got these fingers in here, you have to make sure that your fingers aren't touching the other strings. For example, your A string here and your top E string, they both have to be nice and clear. So make sure that your hand's coming round, your fingers are pointing towards the neck. You're actually using the tips of your fingers to push down the strings, not the soft part here, just the very tips of your fingers. And they just sit down like that. And with the right hand, whenever we get to the chorus, it's going to be all down strokes. So it's just going to be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And that motion keeps going the whole way through the song, just down, 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 down. In most other songs you'll be doing a combination of up and down strokes, But again, this song's perfect for beginners because it just uses all downstrokes, so it's really easy to get your hands around. So the next chord we're going to look at is our E. Now how that works is we're going to get our second finger onto our second fret again. This time it's on the A string, which is the second one from the top. And your third finger here is just going to sit in behind it on the next string down in your second fret. And your first finger just goes in behind these two in your first fret of your G string. And that's all we need for this chord. So this time we can strum all 6 strings with our right hand. And again, what we have to do is just make sure that these fingers aren't touching any of the strings above or below. Otherwise we'll get this kind of sound. And we don't really want that. We just want to make sure that those other strings are coming out nice and clear. Just like that. Now again, it can be quite tricky just like getting the hang of a couple of different chords at once. So the easy way to think about it is if we start off from our A and we move down to our E, you can kind of see that our second finger and our third finger are really just moving up 2 strings here. I'll just show it really slowly. See, it's your second and third finger here we're paying attention to. And that's our A at the minute. Now if we change that to an E, these 2 fingers just come up 2 strings. And the first finger just goes back 1 string and back 1 fret as well. So between these 2, although it's like 2 totally different chords, you're not actually moving your fingers that much, it's just a little bit in between. And again, once we get to the E, it's going to be all downstrokes again with the right hand, so it's going to be 1, 2, 3. Okay? Now the last chord I'm just going to show you today is your D. Now this one's not too bad. I mean, it's a little bit of a jump up your top strings, but it's quite an easy chord to learn. So what we're going to do is we're going to get our first finger on the second fret again of our G string, exactly the same place where we started playing on the verse. Now the middle finger skips out this next string and goes to the top string, again on your second fret. And your third finger just sits in between the 2 on your third fret of your B string. So it looks a little bit like a triangle type shape with your left hand. Now with your right hand we're going to leave out the bottom 2 strings here, our E and our A string, and we're just playing these top 4 starting from our D string. So it's going to be these. Okay. Now a good way to make sure that you've got all your chords nice and clear is just to pick through each one of those strings individually. And make sure all those notes are coming out nice and clear. So again, that's going to be all downstrokes as well, so it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So whenever we put all those chords together, we should have to begin with. So just take, the best way to practice it is just take the chords one at a time, nice and slow. Do 4 slow strums in between them. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, then change that to your E. 1, 2, and then up to your D. And back to your A again. Take your time with it, make sure whenever you change between the chords that it's accurate and clear, and that way whenever you come to playing along with the song, all you really have to do is speed up your strumming pattern a little bit. So instead of having 4 really slow strums, you're just having 8 strums, but they're a little bit quicker. So it's song. So once you get your whole verse pattern down and you've got your 3 chords for your chorus, it's just a matter of kind of practicing putting the 2 of them together. So once you've got the full song down, just practice it in your own speed first of all. Don't be worrying about the speed of the song or playing along with it. Just get each one of your notes nice and accurate, your chords nice and clear, and then whenever you're confident with those, maybe start playing along with the song then. But this lesson, that's going to be everything, so thank you very much.